Did you know that 305,000 Missouri voters followed the law and still got their voices silenced? Now, just for a quick recap, Missouri lawmakers passed a redistricting map right in the middle of a decade. And voters, they disagreed, so they did what the law allows. They launched a veto referendum, a process that gives the public the final say on the law. Now, more than 305,000 Missourians, they signed on. And that's nearly triple what's required to qualify. And when you triple the required signatures, you'd expect that to matter. By law, that should have paused the new map automatically. But the Secretary of State, Denny Hoskins, said, no, not only that, but he threw out a third of the signatures. And not due to fraud or anything like that, but because they were collected on a previous version of the petition form. But here's the kicker. That version had been approved by his office. And even after those signatures were excluded, the total remaining is still more than twice the legal requirement. And yet the map still went into effect. Now, the referendum is still moving through the process, and under Missouri law, that means the Secretary of State is responsible for writing the summary that the voters will see on the ballot. And Hoskins did it. But it was challenged in court by a nonpartisan group called People Not Politicians. Now, they argued that the language was misleading and biased. And the state's response? Hoskins' own attorney acknowledged that the summary was likely to create prejudice. In other words, it could bias voters or confuse them, rather than provide the neutral explanation that the law requires. And while all that was happening, nearly $3 million, much of which came from out of state, was spent just to block the vote altogether. See, this is how power holds on, by making it harder for people to have a say. Here's what you can do. Reach out to your state representatives and let them know that the voters are watching and they expect answers. Also, send this to someone who thinks that voters are still in charge, because if voters can't use the Constitution to check the politicians in power, then what's the Constitution even for?